just introduce myself again. I'm from SoCal. I live in Riverside, and I usually go to Rock SoCal there with Pastor Chris, if you guys know Pastor Chris. Yes, and then, yeah, I went to California Baptist University. I get my master's there in marriage and family counseling. So right now I am working as a full-time therapist, as an associate marriage and family therapist at the Grove Counseling Center. It's a non-profit organization owned by a church in Riverside, California. And yes, so usually I see my clients, most of my clients, I see kids, teenagers, some adults, some couples, and some family sessions as well. So I'm excited to share what I learned so far, and don't hesitate if you guys have any question, all right? Okay, can we go on with the first slide? All right, I'll start with mental health awareness. I know that Pastor Rositz maybe lately has started to talk about mental health, right? And I believe so. You guys must have already been familiar with this. So, but it's nice for us to talk about it more openly. Okay, the next slide. So, the first thing that I want to say is that we all have mental health. All right? Can you guys see the slide behind me? All right, okay. It is just as important as physical health, okay? So if you have flu, for example, right? Or you have headache, pusing, or nggak enak badan, right? It's all like physical symptoms. And so does mental health, right? Even though you cannot tell it physically, but mentally you can feel something. And we will talk more about that. And statistic-wise, this is from NIH, National Institute of Mental Health. They show that 1 in 5 people in the U.S. Suffer mental illness health issues in any given year. All right, so 1 in 5 people actually suffer mental illness. And so this is something normal. We don't have to be afraid. This is something common. And so can you say to the people next to you, you are not alone. You're not alone, okay? You're not alone. You're not crazy. Tell them you're not crazy. If you feel like, if you have a low mood, if you are stressed out, it's totally normal. You are being human, right? Okay, and then, mental health is not only about mental illness or mental disorders, okay? So, what is it about actually? The next slide. So, it is best to see mental health as a continuum. It's like the stairs, right? Rather than people being either mentally ill or well. So if you want to see your friend or you want to see yourself, don't look at it, don't like say that, oh, you are mentally ill or you are mentally well, because we cannot really tell that because it's a continuum, all right? It's like a stairs. And it's like we are all along the stairs, and either we move up or we move down. And what causes that, right? What causes us to move up? For example, life circumstances, right? I know that Hansel and the fiance is getting married this year. Mana mereka ya? Where are they? They're not here. Ah, okay. Life circumstances. They have to get married. They have to do the wedding planning. I know that's stressful, right? For example, what's with you guys? Ko Rosit as a pastor, right? What kind of stressors do you have, Ko? The toddlers, yeah, kids, right? And then, am I making enough money for my family? You have such a great wife, Ko. So a lot of stressors, right? So the more stressors that we have, for example, just imagine you are carrying more burden. So because it's heavier, it's like you will go down the stairs and it's heavier and heavier. But for example, also people genetically, they can born with more tendency to have depression, for example, or maybe they grew up in a traumatic family, right? So it is easier for them who have smaller resilient level for them to develop mental illness. So it really depends on the situation too, on the family, on the parenting, and your personality. All right. So one end of the continuum, one end of the stairs, we have disorders like depression or anxiety. So at one end, for example, the very end of the stairs, that's where you feel like, oh, it's been like a month already. I feel really low. I don't have motivation to go to school. I don't want to talk to people. It's been a month and I'm so tired over this, right? And so maybe when you are in that lowest point, maybe you would have depression or anxiety, right? And on the other side of the stairs, for example, it's the states of positive mental health where you are at the greatest. You are thriving, content, and fulfilled, right? And no matter where you are at, no matter where you are in the middle of the stairs, in the when no matter where you are up or down, God is still with you. Amen. He never leaves nor forsake you. All right, we can go to the next one. All right. Let's have a small activity. We will do a heart check. So I want you to ask your neighbor next to you, what do I need and how do I feel? You can ask the neighbor next to you, hey, my wife, misalnya ako Daniel, what do you need right now at this moment? For example, oh, I need ice cream. It's totally up to you, all right? Ask the neighbor next to you, what do you need at this present moment? Okay? What do you need? Look at what you need. Maybe you need more sleep. You need more time to do your homework. I need attention from my boyfriend, for example, from girlfriend. It could be anything. Okay? And then the second one, ask the neighbor next to you, how do you feel at this present moment? How do you feel? Feelings, there are a lot of feelings, right? Happy, sad, anxious, nervous, worry. Okay? Go Joy, how do you feel? Okay, and what do you need? Yeah, okay. Woohoo! Any girls out there? Is this guy single? Very much single. Okay. Jesus heard that, Kojoy. Jesus heard that. Okay. So, how do you guys feel being able to just sit and be able to just in a 1 minute to ask yourself how do you feel and what do you need? How does that feel? Good. Yeah, because we are so busy sometimes and we forget to ask ourselves, how do you feel, myself? What do you need? Right? Because we get so soaked up with like activities with kids and so on. So don't forget to ask yourself. Take 1 minute, 5 minutes each day to ask yourself about this. All right? Okay. Next. All right. What does it mean to be mentally healthy? So the World Health Organization described mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual one realizes his or her own potential, right? I believe our church will help you to fulfill your destiny. That is the motto of our church, right? And you can discuss whenever you have question about what is my calling? You can always go to the leaders here, right? You can discuss about that. What's my calling? And it's actually healthy if you have that kind of question. You can challenge yourself. It's you want to be mentally healthy, right? And then number two, you can cope with the normal stresses of life. For example, you will exercise, eating healthy, or just share with your family about your day, right? That's how you cope with the stresses in life. And then number three, you can work productively and fruitfully. You can go to school, go to class. You don't really skip a lot of classes. You do your homework. What else? You work and you can work productively. And then number four is able to make contribution to his or her community, right? For example, you guys here, being up here, you serve the Lord. That is a contribution to the Lord, to the society, right? Whatever you guys do. So make sure you guys fulfill this four description of someone who's being mentally healthy. And if it's okay if you, for example, miss 1 point within these 4 points, right? That means, wait a minute, maybe I need some break. Wait a minute, maybe I need self-care, right? Wait a minute, maybe I need to spend time with my family. All right, and it's never too late for you guys. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we are talking about mental health problems, right? So everybody here, you guys have emotions, right? Yes, absolutely. You will feel who tend to worry a lot. The warrior. I am the warrior. I tend to worry, panic a lot. Who here tend to short temper? Yes, usually guys, right? Uh-huh. Who is here that is moody? Sometimes you are like, okay, the next day I'm sad. Girls, especially in their period, maybe, right? But don't make that as an excuse. All right, but all of us, we do have emotions, right? But what's the problem here? So it becomes a problem when your emotion, for example, your worry, your anxiety, becomes severe enough that it interferes with your ability to function daily, right? For example, um, you have social anxiety, right? You are so afraid to meet new people. You are so afraid to socialize. So you would stay in your room for a week, 2 weeks, right? You barely talk to people. So and you don't come to school, you don't go out, hang out with friends, then that will affect your function daily. And when you have this kind of feeling, when it is so persistent over time, it could develop into a mental health problem. Okay, so watch out, guys. Feel free to talk to your pastors here, and feel free if you guys are interested to look out for counselors, therapists, right? It's really good. And then, so there are many types of mental disorders. There are, for example, like the most common are depression, anxiety, what else? OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. What else? Schizophrenia. There's a lot bipolar disorder. For mom, for example, postnatal depression. For most of like army, they have like PTSD, people in the army, and social phobia. There's a lot of mental health problems. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so what happened when it is left untreated, right? Okay, you feel like, oh, maybe I'm the only one. I'm not sure if I'd share this to someone else. Maybe they might think I'm crazy, right? They would think about me differently. So if it is left untreated, it can be chronic and long lasting, and the more disabled you are with your daily functioning, right? We don't want to experience this, hopefully. And once it affects your daily functioning. It will interfere with your family, social, and your work responsibilities. Okay, then next one. Okay, so fortunately, we do have like effective treatments and evidence-based interventions, right? For example, like me in the sessions with kids, I would like to play with. We will do art therapy, play therapy. That is so fun. And then for family sessions, I would like usually have the parents to communicate their feelings, frustration to the kids, and so do the kids to the parents. So we have a lot of techniques in the session, and it could be very helpful. Okay, so don't be afraid. Um, but unfortunately, very few people with mental disorders access existing treatment services. And why? Why very few people? Because it's about the stigma, right? I'm not sure. What do you guys think about the stigma? Can you guys come up with any idea of like what do people say if yeah, especially Indonesian, right? In Indo, like, oh, tuh kamu pasti gila, right? You are crazy. What else? Do you guys weak, right? Guys, for example, guys in Asian culture, like if you cry, then that means you are weak. Maybe in also in Hispanic culture, they emphasize that, and then like you don't show your emotions, right? Yeah, that's like the stigma in the culture, in our culture. That's how we are raised. And so, because of the stigma, people hesitate to seek for help, right? And then sometimes maybe they do want to get help, but they don't know how. How and when, how to start, where to start. And then the fear itself, the fear that what if I share this to someone? Are they gonna think differently about me? Right? For example, just with your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? What if you let them know that, hey, I've been struggling with eating disorder, right? I've been binge eating, I've been like purging. What if you tell that to your loved ones, right? It is so scary, and I can understand that. Um, so, for you guys here who have heard about this, then you have to let yourself know or other people that's close to you that it is okay, right? It is okay. It is okay. We all have that. Remember the statistic 1 in 4 people. So that means we all here. We all here. We are here. We still have mental health problems. Even me, myself, right? Okay. Next one. All right. Just this is just oh, it's too small, huh? All right. Just because I received some questions about anxiety and depressions, I'll just talk a little bit about anxiety. First, anxiety is the main theme of anxiety is actually you are afraid of the future, right? So the questions that come up with people who have anxiety is more like, what if? That's the main theme in their head. What if this happened? And so they think about the worst. What if this? What if they think bad about me? But what if they talk bad about me? What if I fail? The what if and what ifs, right? And whereas depression, they are struggling with the past, something that happened in the past. And the main theme that comes up in their mind is, I should have done this. I could have done this, right? That's the main theme on their head, right? And then you guys can Google this. There's a lot of information about anxiety, depression, and there's a lot of symptoms until it can also affect you physically, right? Last time Ko Rosit tell me that how many years ago? 2016, Ko? 2016 December, he felt like a burden on your back, shoulder, right? So it has already affected him physically. But when you go to the doctor, sometimes the doctor cannot tell, like, there's nothing wrong with you physically. So mostly that could be caused of the mental health problems. Okay, next one. All right. Um, So this is maybe the integration between Christianity, spirituality, and mental health, right? I have some quotes here, which is very good. It's okay to have Jesus and a therapist too. Do you guys agree? It's okay, right? Because in the Bible, they don't really tell like, okay, if you have depression, then you should, for example, what? You should use this kind of techniques. If you have anxiety, you should drink this kind of medicine. Is it written in the Bible? No, they don't explicitly write that down. And that's why God can use people like me and like your pastors, right? We are equipped to help you guys think, to help you guys question and explore what happened with me. And that's our role. And Jesus equipped us, right? He gave us wisdom to do that. So it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist too. And then struggling with mental health doesn't make you any less Christian, okay? Because in the Bible it is said that peperangan, our war is not against yeah, it's we have spiritual warfare, right? Spiritual warfare, and it's not necessarily always physical warfare. It is also the battle in our mind, right? And that is talking about mental health actually. So the Bible is actually in line with mental health. So it doesn't make you any less Christian. And then this is the from the first 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Okay, so in your weaknesses, in your lowest point, God is there with you, and that's when God wants you to really depend and rely on Him. Right? What a great Father that we have, right? He's awesome. Okay, next one. Okay. Um, all right, maybe before I talk about this is kind of like quite deep and intense. And this is very good. This is called the intimacy chart. This is developed by my supervisor where I work, and I hope this could be helpful. But before I explain this, maybe we could see a video, the video, Nadia, that I've prepared.
Tengok mata Mak. Tengok mata.
Pak merah ni.
Kulah.
Gigi ni lah.
You know,
when Keza got sick, right?
Me.
When you got sick. Yeah, then it was very difficult. I just didn't want you to go, and I was very scared.
Thank you, Jie, for looking after Dad. Okay, you are everything to him. I miss this.
Kau mini.
It's very important to me.
Emotional.
Well, very rarely we have this opportunity to stand side by side. So actually it's quite a very emotional moment because, something that you want to treasure sometimes.
I really feel like she actually loves me. Because at home she'll be like always scolding me.
That's love.
You see my husband become old. I'm very happy with him lah.
I still love her because still young now.
He's still young. Irritating.
So many years we never look into each other's eyes.
You've never done this before.
We used to talk, but not for so long.
I decided to give her a hug, which I had never done it before for a long time.
Oftentimes, when he sleeps, I pray over him. Just one thing that I can do as a mother. Yeah.
It's during this moment that I realized that, like my father has actually aged a lot. So I feel that, we should really spend more time with our loved ones before they just leave, you see.
I can see that she cares for me very much. She loves me very much. And I think that's the most important thing.
It's actually an insurance advertisement. Yes, what do you guys think? It's awesome? Yeah. The point of me showing this is because back to the question that we asked each other before about what do you need and how do you feel, right? Because it's so easy for us to miss that moment. And then maybe it's just like, oh, hi, how are you? And then that's it. We don't really be present for that person, right? And what we actually need is that presence, that availability from your loved ones, right? And that's why just by you staring at their eyes and just by sitting, listening to them, for example, that is already therapeutic for someone, all right? So don't forget to do that. That's very important. So I'm gonna share a little bit about this intimacy chart. And this intimacy chart could apply for like teenagers, for parents and child relationship, for husband and wives. It could apply for every relationship, all right? So on the left one, you can see that there is trust and vulnerability. And then the next one, intimacy. And then your body and your sexuality, right? Okay, let us start with intimacy right there, the second arrow. All right. Intimacy is built over time, right? Do you agree? Do you get intimate with just like one date with someone? Can you really know that person in just an hour of date? No, right? You need to know that person, and it takes time for you to develop that intimacy. And as you get, and intimacy is built over time as well as it's built based on the trust level. Okay, so let us see acquaintances, right? This is for someone that you just barely met, right? For example, me, I just met you guys today. Maybe I've met some of you before. I met Kojoy, Atalia, Nadia. But I just met you guys, so you guys are my acquaintances, right? And what's appropriate for acquaintances is about, if we go to the body arrow, casual greeting, handshake, that's appropriate, right? And friendly side hug. Okay? Do you guys do that when you meet someone new? Even just like hi, or just like give them a smile. That's normal. That's appropriate for that stage, right? And then if we go to the trust and vulnerability, the more you maybe second hangouts, third hangouts, you will know whether this person, this friend is honest or not. Are they telling the truth or not? Right? For example, okay, let us meet at 7 p.m. tonight, okay, for our date. And you will see, is this person honest or not, right? Based on what they say. So the way we want to see this chart is we want to look whether it is lurus, like horizontal, linear. Yes, it has to go the same level. For example, acquaintances, they have to show honesty. And if you go to the body, what's appropriate is friendly side hug, and we'll go later to talk about the sexuality. Okay, it has to go with a linear line. Okay, a straight line. Okay, and then as you go down deeper, there is casual friends, right? Casual friends. You meet these casual friends at church once a week, for example. Casual friends, you get to know about their hobbies. What else? You get to know, maybe not really habit, but just you get to know about this person. This person likes this, she hates that, for example. That is casual friends. And at this level, what's appropriate is you have to see whether that friend, if you want to say that friend as being casual friend, he or she has to show that that person is dependable. Okay, dependable. Dependable means you will do what you say. That is dependability. Okay, and at this stage, with the body, some people might find it okay to have like good night kiss. For example, this is a dad to the daughter, good night kiss, that's okay. And then friendly side hug. And then with the sexuality, group activities, right? You guys have small group here every Friday or Wednesday, and that's appropriate. Okay, maybe I can ask Korosit, right? You guys here have small group. Do you think who's the member in the group ko that is here? The young adults. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. For example, do you say that Martin or Marcus? Marco, sorry. Do you think that he is dependable, Ko, so far? He will do what he said. Yeah. So that that's healthy because you guys are at the casual friends stage, right? Group meetings. That is healthy. Okay, and then you guys do like friendly side hug, hi Ko, right? Okay, that's an example. So if we go down again to close friends and family, right? At this stage, if you say that Atalia is like my own sister, for example, even though she's not my bio sister, but I feel like she's my sister. If you want to say that she's like your sister, close friends, then she must able to show you that she's honest, dependable, and benevolent at this stage. Benevolent means that you want the best for that person, right? You want the best for that person. For example, you see someone, your best friend's dating someone, right? You want to remind them, hey, don't hang out too late, for example, because you care about their safety, you care about their purity, right? That is the level of benevolent. close friends and family. At this stage, for someone, for example, if you date someone, you have to see whether your boyfriend and or girlfriend are showing these three qualities, right? Being honest, dependable, and benevolent. And at this stage, some people might find it okay to kiss, and some people might find it okay to just hold hands and hugs, right? It depends. And then the level below that is deep best friend, right? Deep best friend, you would be sacrificial to your deep best friend. For example, I remember katanya Ko Daniel said when Monica gave birth to Jedi, right? And like all the youth were there. Wait, I got mixed. It's Nana actually. Sorry, Ko, got mixed. Okay, Nana mentioned yesterday that when she gave birth to Nolan, right? It took few hours for them, and the youth were there, including Ko Daniel and the wife and the youth. You guys were waiting in the waiting room, right? Even though maybe it's like already a few hours, but you guys sacrifice your time for Chinana and Korosit, right? And that means you guys are in deep best friend stage. You guys are showing are being sacrificial toward one another. And at this stage, it's okay to kiss for couples, right? To snuggle, and some couples, it depends too. For them, it's okay to make out at this stage. And at this stage, you can see from the sexuality chart, they are engaged. And so when people are engaged, okay, then that means it is safe to kiss. And for some American, they think making out is fine too. But again, remember, you have to make sure your fiance is showing these 4 criteria of trust and vulnerability. Do you guys get it so far? Any question? No? Let me know, okay, if you guys have any question. And then the last one, the deepest one is after marriage, right? Who's married here? You guys. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 4 couples here. That's awesome. So you guys, maybe this is also a question for married couple. Can you tell that your husband or wife is showing a mutual submission to you, right? Mutual submission, because that's what's appropriate in the level of trust and vulnerability. They are showing trust and trustworthiness. There's mutual submission, and then this is for intimacy, is for the spouse. And then about the body, you guys are allowed to have sexual intercourse at this stage, and this is healthy. This is what God designed it for, right? This is safe. And you guys, with like sexuality, you guys, it's fine for you guys to do a sexual exploration and learning. This is fun. This is the gift of the wedding from God after the covenant, right? But the deepest level, who knows you the most, who knows you the best, is God Himself. He is showing all of those qualities of a person, okay? So what's the issue here within this chart? So this chart is showing about how the world works nowadays, okay? For example, let's go with the danger zone right there, right? Danger zone right there. First date. People here, they will sleep on their first date, after the first date, right? Okay? Okay, and where is that in the body section? Sexual intercourse, right? Down here. Whereas actually, if you have a sexual intercourse with someone, that someone must show you that 4 levels of trust. Do you guys get it? Whereas like the culture here nowadays, like just between how many dates, for example, 2 dates, 3 dates, you guys sleep already. Within those 3 days, can you tell that person is honest, being honest with you? Can you tell that he's being dependable, benevolent, and sacrificial in just within a month or 2 months? You cannot really tell. And that's how the enemy tried to deceive us, tried to twist the truth, God's truth, right? Maybe the enemy is trying, oh, it's okay, right? Just have sex, you will feel all the pleasure, right? But then what happened after that? There's guilt, shame, right? What else? Maybe nobody knows, but especially for female, we would feel the guilt and the shame. And we feel like we fail God, we fail our family, we feel like we are not worthy, right? So the enemy tried to mess up with our mind, right? So this is the point of this chart actually. So for all of you, I know because you guys are young adults here, you guys are in a relationship, engaged, or a young couple. Make sure if that, okay, for example, if you see that person, just for married couple, right? If you find your wife is not being honest, or not being dependable. She's honest, but she's not being dependable. So you guys have to talk. Okay, my wife, the wife can ask the husband, what can I do, my husband, for me in order to earn your trust? For me in order to move from the level of honesty to dependability? And you guys can talk about that. The husband can say like, okay, for me to be able to see you as being dependable, you have to show A, B, C, D. Okay, and then evaluate that over time. For example, set a monthly goal. Okay, all right, let's make it a goal. For example, it could be applied to you too, to someone who's dating or just in friendship. All right, okay, within a month, let's see if we are being dependable to one another. And you guys can come up with very specific examples here. Okay, yeah, that's about it. I think that's the main point. Yeah. Any question? I know this is quite complicated, but this is very helpful to see, like, to make sure whether you guys are in line with your friends, family, even family. Okay, I remember now the other point. Okay, even family. Family should be in that third level of intimacy, right? There is close friends and family, right? But for some people, because the family is so cold and so distant, they don't show those three qualities in family, right? Even though they are family, so for someone it feels like for the kids, they feel like their parents are in their acquaintances level because their parents never show up for them. So how do the kids will know that my parents is honest, dependable, benevolent for me, right? So this could apply for family too, okay? And that's why, for example, now we know that there is like LGBT. A lot of my clients, I have like 3 clients right now that they are teens and they think like, I think I am gay, for example. I think I am bi. And then and then as we talk about this chart, some of the families, parents never touch them, parents never hug them, right? So once there's this girl, for example, I'm a girl, and my parents never touch or hug me, right? Show me warm, and yes, and love. Once I have a best friend, for example, Atalia. Once again, I'll use you, Atalia. Once she's my best friend, and she's like, for her, it's normal to hug, right? Maybe you grow up in a family who shows affection, physical affection. And for example, you are my best friend, so you would hug me. Hi, Tirsa, you will hug me. And for me, who come up from a family who's very cold and distant, I would like, what? I'm special for that, for Atalia? Maybe she likes me, you know? Can you see here the confusion? Maybe maybe your friend or you, maybe you have this question, am I gay or am I bi? Maybe you have to ask this first. Maybe you are not gay or bi. Maybe it's just you growing up in a family who never show affection. So once you see someone who gives you affection, you would like freak out. You would like mistranslate that as, oh, that person likes me, right? So maybe this is important for us to go as leaders, go Joy. you guys can discuss about this with them, right? Someone who feel betrayed, for example, by the boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, feel betrayed when your spouse cheated on you, right? And you guys want to reconcile. Let's work on the trust and vulnerability again, okay? And for I know that some couples, for example, husband cheated on wife, and then husband is like, oh, I'm so sorry, I want to go back with you, right? But for wife, it needs time to build for the husband to earn the trust back. Remember, it takes time. It could take over a year, for example, to build the trust. So, but you guys can work on that criterias. All right, so that's about this chart. If you guys have any question, you can ask me. And then can I go really quickly for the rest, or our time is up? Almost. Okay. All right, we have next slide. This is about vulnerability. Have you guys heard about the word vulnerability? Yeah. Actually, it's being able to express your emotions, your feelings, your failures, your fear to someone. Even though you don't know, you cannot guarantee whether that someone is gonna stay with you after you share these stories. You share about your past mistakes, past trauma. You choose to share that with someone, and you are being vulnerable, right? And by you being vulnerable, it will fuel the connection. There will be trust. Okay, for example, just by hearing Korosit sharing to me the other day that Tirsa, I went to counseling a few years ago. That makes me feel like, wow, he's a pastor, but he is also a human. He's not God. And I can relate to him. That makes me want to share more about my struggles, because he has struggles too. Otherwise, if he's so perfect, he's performing so perfect, like we will be afraid to talk to him. So that what he did is you actually being vulnerable with me, Korosit, and I admire that. Okay, so I encourage for all of you to find someone that you trust. Of course, not to everyone, but find someone that you trust and be vulnerable. That's okay. All right. Then next slide. Okay, this is this is a short practice. I know that the most issues in relationship is about communication. So we can close this session with practicing what's called the I statement. All right, we don't have to finish the next slides, but with this slide, I want us to practice to your neighbor again about the I statement. So basically, why couples fight, for example, right? Why friends fight, or boyfriend girlfriend fights? It's because maybe sometimes they don't argue correctly, and then this is the one of the technique that we practice in the session. Basically, when we fight, we tend to blame that other person, right? You did this to me. I remember you did this. You did. Ya kan, apalagi maybe like for wives, like it's easy to remember all the husband's mistakes, all the details, right? So it's easy to start with you did this, okay? And with you, if you start by saying that, that makes your spouse become defensive. No, I didn't do that. Right? Woo! Almost married couple here. Okay, so instead of like blaming and being frustrated, we have to start with I. Okay, can we say with I feel, for example, I feel hurt. I feel hurt because you were late when you promised me to pick me up at 6 p.m. And so what I need is for you to be on time next time. That's it. Okay, instead of like, you are late again. I'm so pissed. I'm so angry, right? So there's no real communication. You guys are not connecting at that time. But with this statement, I statement, there will be a connection. Okay, so let's practice just 1 minute, and then we can close the session, and if you guys have questions, we can do that. Okay? Okay. Pick someone. Anything you can anything. It could be also I feel happy because you remember it's my birthday. Let's really practice on that. Ayo, Ko Joy cari someone, find someone. You can say that to him. I feel so awkward. Oh, that's it. Your time, guys.
All right, guys, how many of you guys are blessed by the session this morning? Yeah, there you go. Hey, let's do some vulnerability practice. How many of you cried watching that video? I did my crying in the morning when I got the video sent. So I was looked to the left and to the right, and I'm just like, so nobody saw me. Anyway, I know that our time is up, and I know that the second service actually have practice, but we can start a little bit late. I just want to just maybe ask you a couple questions. I hope it will also address some of the question that you have. I want to ask Tirsa this, then, especially in the context of our church, right? When you have client coming in, especially family relationship between parents and children, now in our context, it's the communication is even more difficult because of the language barrier, right? Now my question would be this: how much of this usually the problem that occurs, the problem that happen in parents and children relationship? How much is it cultural? How much is it more about just about communication, and it's actually cultural, doesn't play a big issue as we thought it is? So do you have a take on that?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. It's basically nature and nurture. So the way your parents raised you with whatever language, for example, Indonesian, right? Mixed language, that's a part of their parenting. And parenting contribute like 50% of your development, your personality, your emotions. So that could be a major contribution to who we are now and to the issues that we have now. I think that's 50-50. So besides nurture, there is nature. And nature could also from your resiliency, right? Some people, for example, having family who speak in Bahasa and they don't really know English, but for some kids, they have high resilient level. They are able to be okay. They are able to cope with the stress, the high stress level, and so that depends on the personality as well. But for some kids, they could find it very stressful to deal with the language barrier, right? And maybe that kind of kid can develop more issues, behavioral issues at school, with relationship. So it also depends, nature and nurture, I think 50-50.
Is the resilient is something that we can develop, that we can become more and more resilient,
Yeah.
or is something that we have to kind of accept? I don't have a...
When you are born, you have a specific level of resilient in you, but parents could develop kids' resilient level. Yes,
yeah?
by praising them,
Oh,
by
okay.
acknowledging their feelings, by empathizing. That is actually building their level of confidence and so the resilient.
Did you guys hear that, right? parents, you can help. Now, how about for the children themselves? Like, for example, if they're teenagers and they understand a little bit now how to self-care, how do they develop that resilience for themselves if they are teenagers?
Or if they are teenagers,
uh-huh.
I think Jesus
Yeah.
is the
Identity and
Yes.
self-worth.
Yes,
right?
know your worth in Jesus, in Christ. It's not dependent on like your boyfriend, girlfriend, but who God says about you and you know who you are in Christ. I think that could be a strength in you
Okay.
to face the stressors.
Okay. Sure. One more question that I have for you. Can you, Nadia, can you show that intimacy chart again? There you go. By the way, this is something that we can print out. Is that okay?
Yeah, I
And
bring
then-
print out actually.
Okay, and then
So I
we
can
can
give you
just
guys.
print it out, and then the youth can talk about it, and life group we can talk about it. Now, I just again, I'm sorry if this is become a parenting question because it's the one of the most question that we got is about communication to my parents, and the parents ask communication to my children, right? So, how do you see, like, for example, that chart say close friends and family, right? Let's say if the children, their teenager, kind of like break the trust of the parents, that means they're not being honest, right? Like, how do you get that back, and how efficient is it for the parents, for example, give them punishment? You're not allowed to hang out anymore for a month, or we're gonna take your phone. Like, how do you deal with that once, for example, if the honesty has been broken, maybe not just once, maybe like twice, 3 times, 4 times. What can the parents do effectively? What can the children also, how can the children earn that trust back and things like that? Yeah.
I think that it goes side by side. It's not only the work of the kids, the teens, but also the parents. The parents have to know the level of the stage of development of their teens, because teens at this level they will find their identity mostly based on their friendship. So it is very valuable for them to spend time with their friends, right? So for parents who have teens, you have to trust your teens. Let them give more flexibility. For example, instead of going home at 9, maybe this time you can go home at 10. Be more flexible. That's okay, because that's what they need. That's what you don't have to tell everything. Hey, you have to do this, you have to do that to the teens, because they are trying to prove to the parents that, hey, I can do this, right? So for the parents, they have to let go a little bit of their teens, right? And then give trust. And for the teens too, right? For example, the teens can communicate, hey, thank you for the trust, and I will earn the trust. And that's why it's very good to set some goals, specific goals together. Okay, for example, teens have failed in the past, go home at 11. All right, let's just meet in the middle, for example, 10:30. And you get parents and teens, for example, okay, within 5 days, you have to show me at least 3 this week that you will be home by 10:30. And then evaluate based on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So side by side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the parents have to learn to trust the teens.
Yes, be
And then the
flexible.
teenager have to make sure you maintain that trust.
trust
Don't
too.
break the trust,
Yeah.
especially over and over again, right? Okay.
And parents have to know too that by not that allowing them to do mistakes, but by doing mistakes we learn as a teenager, as
Okay.
a teen, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we are running out of time. Once again, can you just give it up for Tirsa? Thank you for
you.
being with us.
Thank you,
Can you
guys.
close and pray for us, for all of us?